Live, I guess so. All right. Hey, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, the Ring of Hire Show. Hey, I got a great guest tonight that I've known for probably about 8 months now, I'd say, with
Yeah, right
Matt.
about
And
there.
he works with Aston Carter Staffing, and we're gonna have a great conversation tonight. And I think you're gonna really enjoy Matt as a guest. And how you doing tonight, Matt?
Dave, I'm glad you asked me on here. I know we were trying to coordinate it for a little while before the holidays. I'm just, excited to be on here and
No, I
be able
appreciate
to
it.
talk to you and not just send you messages.
I know, right through the thing. So we'll be right back after this message right here. All right. I want to start it out tonight with LinkedIn. Everybody knows when you're doing videos and you're scrolling down through, sometimes a person will catch your attention. And my short story was Matt, with how I met Matt was I started seeing Matt doing videos on LinkedIn, and I was like, man, you're really progressing. It was like, all right, you were doing them weekly, and then all of a sudden I started to like your stuff, and this is what I like about LinkedIn, because look, you're on my show. We've known each other for a couple months now. I get to listen to you and watch your videos and see you grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I want you to first introduce yourself, Matt, and what you do and where you live, and you know the drill.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt Lunny, obviously, he said I work with Aston Carter. I sell our services in accounting and finance specifically in the Atlanta market. I sit in the Jacksonville office due to the pandemic. Nice. It allows me to do this. I get up there every once in a while. I am a 24-year restaurant veteran. I worked in the restaurant business from the time I was 16 till recently, and got out of it. Had a friend that worked in staffing, and I've loved it. The company takes really good care of me. It's a great culture. It's a great opportunity to work with people, meet a lot of interesting people, and help people find jobs. That's really the thing that is great about it.
You said it right there. I want to introduce you to James. Matt, you definitely want to connect with James. He does a lot of great podcasting, and I watch his show a lot, and you'll definitely want to reach out to him. Kenny D, Kenny's in the house. Savor the flavor. I think everybody knows Kenny, but these are just great people, and the same way.
I see some of them watching their podcasts. I've had some interactions, I think, with Kenny in the past.
I think everybody has, but what I liked about you, Matt, is how you're staying consistent with the videos. And take me through from when you started your videos on LinkedIn to where you are now. What do you see different for your staffing, for getting noticed and anything?
So yeah, definitely getting noticed is big. My presence on LinkedIn has become a lot better. I don't know if you remember my first video or even scroll back to it, like we were just talking about. I've seen videos. I'm not on the TikTok era. People laugh at me that I have Snapchat, but I've had it for like 10 years. And I kept seeing these companies that I was calling into to try and, just set a meeting, not like, hey, I'm going to be your old oil salesman, but just set a meeting with them and just, discuss how we could help them. And these companies would have their jobs posted for 30 days and it's still up there. And I was like, man, this market is moving way too fast. Yep. So my first video was like, hey, I've seen your ad up there. Give me a call. Let me help you fill that. And then from there, I got other ideas. So people gave me ideas. Some ideas I took other people's ideas and ran with it or made them, kind of my own. And, some weeks I struggle for content and I ask people like, hey, what should we talk about? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I got 10 ideas. Let me make sure I write them down or voice record them so that I don't forget them. But yeah, I try to do it with a little bit of humor / sarcasm, but also just keep them short, to the point, and,
That's what I like about for what you do for your job, and adding that tidbit right there about, and we're going to go over some of your posts here, but you got to, Kenny loves this stuff. Matt Lunny, send me a connection and savor the flavor of awesomeness in you. I don't think Kenny has a mean bone in his body, and he's funny.
Yeah.
He makes us laugh. But like you said, you've seen yourself grow with staffing, and even for when I do this show, from when I started out a couple years ago, it grows. And by 6 to 8 months, 10 months from now, when I told you you're going to get that LinkedIn Live, then you're on one of the most powerful platforms, man. And to use it to help people, because in staffing, what's your favorite thing about staffing?
Right now, my favorite thing about it is getting somebody a job that's like their dream job. Before I was in the sales side of it, when I was just doing the recruiting, I did a lot of customer support type things. And it takes somebody that worked at, like, say, Chick-fil-A, and was working there, had a great personality, but nobody ever gave them the chance to be able to set them up with an interview with a company for like a customer service job as their first like step in the door to like a career world type of role. Was always good. And to get them from making like, $10, $12 an hour up to, 15 to 16, where they can move out of their parents' house, was just kind of like really a cool thing that I enjoyed. Or somebody, whereas like say on a resume, there's a gap of like a year and a half. Hiring manager looks at it on a piece of paper, is like, no, they have a job gap. Well, what I know that they don't, and I can talk to the manager because we have contact, is, hey, they had a really ill mom and they decided to step back from working to help take care of their family. And I can help them like fill that gap because we have that manager contact. Whereas a lot of times if you just upload a resume into, ABC company's website, they're just going to look at a piece of paper and just be like, oh, we're not going with that person because of this job gap. Whereas
I had it, Matt, happen once, and I've told people is I got a person's resume and it had 7 jobs on it within 2 years, 7. And at first I looked at it, I was like, I got a call. I called her. If she didn't say, she says, Dave, I love working for staffing companies because I can work when I want. So all her jobs were staffing companies throughout the area. She needed an assignment. She wanted to go for like a 3-week one, a 6-month or something. And that's what she liked to do. But if I didn't take that time, I bet so many people would have overlooked her.
Yeah.
Because like you said, that gap, and to take a person, and I'm sure you have, and that's got to be the best thing about staffing when you do that,
to
absolutely. Help them. But I wanted to talk to you about, I want to tell everybody how I get to know somebody on the show. So I scroll through Matt's post, just like you can do Kenny's, right? You scroll through Matt's and you scroll through it, and it tells a story. And Matt's very passionate at what he does. And the first thing that came up with, one of them was, I like, pick up the phone when someone calls you. I'm sorry. Pick up the phone when someone calls you. If you're in staffing, that you said is what? Your number one rule?
Yeah. Pick up the phone when somebody's calling, because, I see these posts where people are like, I've applied to 27 jobs and I haven't got an interview. And it's like, our systems track like us calling people, and somebody's tried to call you 4 times, you didn't answer, and your voicemail's full. We can't leave you a message. And if you don't know who it is, you're probably not going to call it back. So pick up the phone.
I feel guilty, Matt. I was telling you, I got so much.
I know.
I was telling you, I feel guilty because I haven't called. I got to call them back. I have to, because if I don't, they're never going to call back again.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. And I like how you said that. And you got to go by that golden rule, right?
Yeah. And if it's, and what did I follow it up with? Somebody's trying to sell you extended warranty, just hang up on them.
I know.
Or, I used to walk out into our little area where everybody works.
Right.
And I would be like, hey, does anybody need a car warranty on speakerphone? And then they'll just hang up on you.
Yep. See, there you go. I love it. But that saying to me stood out. The next one, I even circled it, man. I circled that baby because I was like, work quotes to me, that when you're on LinkedIn and you scroll through, everybody puts quotes, and I actually enjoy reading them. And now everybody's like, yeah, right. but sometimes do you apply it? Do we apply it? Does it just make you feel good? Or do you apply that to your goal? Because some of them I have. And I questioned the one that you put. You said it was about discussing great leaders. And you said, seeing people grow an accomplishment their best, not just do what they're told. So you're seeing a person grow. They've created an accomplishment at their best, but you just do what not just do what they are told. So you like to see them accomplish and not just to do what they're told. Now, I'm thinking that you mean that let them be themselves, maybe grow. Is that what you were saying?
No, that was kind of more under the terms of leadership of, I know you've done things about bad leaders, bad bosses. Right. You want to see people actually grow and use their own critical thinking. You could teach a lot of jobs and be like, hey, go do this. When I say see people grow, the more they can learn, whether it's on their own or if you just give them a hand teaching them, I feel that they want to learn more. So like the more you learn, the more you want to learn to be better for yourself. And then you can watch them grow. In this role, I don't really have a leadership role. My manager title is managing accounts, not people. Right. But working in restaurants, I managed people. And I can still tell you to this day a handful of people that I truly impacted. One was when I was really young, teaching somebody how to properly cut something to make it, and it made it easier for them. And then watching him grow, he taught somebody else because they were doing it wrong.
That's
and like just being able to see that growth in a person and knowing you had a little impact there instead of just bossing them, telling them what to do.
Right.
You gave them direction and let them do what they needed to do.
I love it. I got to introduce you to one of the greats, Bill Bradford. He's in Pittsburgh. Great guy to connect with. Just connect with this guy here. And Bill does a lot of like trades. I know he's into sales and everything like that, but he really gets into. I had him on the show talking about trade schools, how they should be more of them. Yeah. Versus things like, when he does sales, like saying, CNC, HVAC technicians, everything that are going away that we need in the staffing world, but he's a great person to connect with. And he would help you with any kind of questions you have. He always reaches out. The next thing I liked when you were talked about was how with the staffing, a lot of people don't realize how with a financial strain, what it does to your company and short-staffed. You stated it burns them out, which I 100% or 1000% agree. Why struggle? Why do you feel they should utilize a staffing company in your words? Like what do you offer in a staffing company?
So, that's a great question. And I'm going to pivot with two answers there.
Okay.
One is the burnout of your employees. If you have a deadline that needs to be done, whether you have 8 people working on it or 10 people working on it, it still needs to be done. If you have those 8 people, you're putting more stress on them to get that project done. And it's not necessarily fair. You might lose the employees. There might be a little bit of disdain there. It'll cost you overtime also. Yep. And then the other side of it is kind of not necessarily with the staff, but as a company, what are you losing if you don't finish this project? If you have a project, I mean, obviously you're a military man. If you have a DoD contract, and you're slated to finish this project by, March 1st, and you're behind on it,
right?
Some of these projects you get fined like thousands of dollars a day for being late or not completed on them. Or if you're in the civilian sector, you could have a project, and if you don't complete it, they're taking money off of your, negotiated agreement to not get it completed. So you're short staffed, you're not going to go to a big company, and say, oh, sorry, we didn't do it with no repercussions.
Right. No, that definitely.
I'm trying not to say any company names out there, but there's a lot of big companies out there that if you don't play ball by their rules, when it comes to their contracts, so they're pulling from you or they'll fine you. And
it is. Okay. And with staffing, I always look at staffing lists, and I've done it. God, it was like 26 years. Is the benefits of a staffing company are just like you said. Like your company at Aston with you, and you're into accounting and finance. So if you have somebody go off that really is a good part of your team for FMLA, or they're going out for, leave also for maternity leave,
that's a whole other.
You need to fill someone qualified to where you don't want to have to train as much, right? I mean, in your market especially.
Well, and then it leads into a whole nother aspect of it, of implementation projects. So if you're a company that's looking to implement a new software, depending on how big your company is, that could take a 6-month process to switch over everything from just the regular software on the back office to point of sale systems. When you do these big software changeovers, you still need to run day to day, and that's where consultants come in play, where they could keep your business running.
I want to ask you something right there, and I read that when you're saying consultants, you mean like a temporary person, right?
Yeah, project consulting.
I love it because I don't like the word temp. I never have. I always tried to change it wherever I was at. I was like associates. Oh, they're my associates. But when you were saying consultants, I'm sorry, I had to interrupt there because I thought that's what you meant it was, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And especially when you get to the higher level skill sets within accounting and finance, or even engineering. So you have an engineering project. It could be an 18-month engineering project, and then it's going to be over with after that. Well, a lot of these people in these realms know that now, and it gets them more money. Right. Because they know after 18 months they're looking for a job, and then B, they can learn from a lot of different companies.
I can imagine.
And that's becoming a bigger trend. Engineering's huge with it, but within accounting and finance is becoming real big too. And like you said, the one person only wants to work when they want. I mean, some of these people that we work with on a day-to-day basis on consultant jobs, right. They'll do an 18-month consulting job and then take 3 months off because they've made enough money, relax, hang out, right. And then they're like, okay, let's jump on another job. But then again, leave of absence, maternity, we definitely work with a lot of that as well.
That's definitely
filling that spot for that short term. I mean, we try not to go less than 6 months on a contract.
You got to make money. Everybody's got to make money regardless. It's part of business. I want to introduce you to Rob. He's a great connection over in Pittsburgh also.
I think me and Rob are connected from one of those shows that we did, that you did.
Oh, are you?
On it. I'm pretty sure.
Melissa. Melissa. Wow. How you doing, Melissa? She's over at Munster now. They were part of the team, short term and long term. And I'm going to leave that up because that's right there. I think she hit it right there.
Yeah. And another thing about the consultant part of it is companies these days, with the way the market is, they're not letting good people go. So if you finished a project on this team, there might be another team that they want to bring you on permanently with.
Especially the way the market is. Especially the market, that makes total sense. Melissa, you definitely got to connect. I know you're over at Munster now. So she was with a company that I knew for a while now. She worked with me in her company. And it was great. And there again, another colleague that I could call her up with any kind of questions, and then they'll answer. They're real people. That's what I like about this. When I wanted to talk about when your posts were, I like this retention. I know we say retention, okay, but the way you said it was finding the right people the first time. I like that.
Yeah. So, I have a strong belief in this, and it's always gone back to the restaurant days. It's like, yes, we need people, but let's find the right person the first time so that we don't have to rehire for it, 3-6 months down the line.
Right.
Make the process a little bit more difficult up front as far as interviewing. And then, you'll know you have that kind of right person instead of just being like, hey, we need a body.
Well, that's what, and then staffing, and I'm sure you're the same way. I always have my on a board, I wrote a star next to it because I remember that person. I might not have had a job for him then, but 3 months from now, when you call that employee up and say, hey, I got this, listen, they could be at a position they don't like, or they could be at one where they're still unemployed. So you got to admit that's a win.
And I know we kind of talked about this too on one of your podcasts is, you might talk to somebody today, and then I might go to a client and the client's like, I need this specific skill set. And I'm like, perfect. I'm giving this
Love it.
guy a call and saying, "Hey, Dave,
Yep.
hey, I got your resume. We talked. This company is interested in you. Do you want me to set up an interview?"
I
And
love
we've
it.
already built that rapport. So you can either say, "Yeah, Matt, I want to do it," or "No, I don't." And I'm going to respect you telling me no,
Yep.
because we've built that relationship. Our process to get people over to our clients is almost as if you're interviewing with us first, which also actually helps people prep as well,
Right.
for the interview.
And I wanted to give you a shout out here for your company, where if anybody's watching, and what areas do you service, Matt, and what type of positions are you? Because I want to, if somebody does watch us tomorrow, next day, I want them to reach out to you by connecting with you. They can always message you. And then on the feed, when I go back, I'll put your number and email.
Gotcha. Okay. So me personally, I live in Jacksonville and I work in the Atlanta market. My team does all of North Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. I specialize in accounting and finance. My top skill sets that I work with are going to be accounts receivable, accounts payable, staff accountants, financial analysts, controllers, things along those lines. Anything.
What areas, Matt? In Florida and Atlanta?
I specifically do Atlanta, but if you're in Florida or Alabama and you have a need, I can get you in connections with the right people. Right. We have 4 different account managers on our team, and I mean, we're a nationwide company as well. So
that's awesome. But I wanted to give you the chance there, and please, anybody watching, like you said, in the Georgia, please reach out to him, even if he doesn't know. Listen, the Aston card is very big, and he can. I always like referring people to somebody else, because everybody on this feed, if I ever needed help, they would tell me, and help you. And that's what this is about. You really want to help somebody, get the job.
Well, I still get, I haven't recruited specifically in 6 months, and I still get referrals on a weekly basis. And, if it's somebody that I can get on my team, great. I'll send them to one of my teammates. If not, I'll find whatever market they're in and be like, "Hey, I got somebody for you. It's at least worth the conversation."
And that's what it's about. I want to give this shout out because I liked in your videos, you can see people develop. I love when you start to bring somebody in. Yeah. So what I liked about Emma Voigt, right? Emma?
Yeah, Emma.
I watched Emma on there, and I tried to connect. I sent her a connection. And it brings back those days of, that's what you want to do. You want to get that person to step out of the boundary.
Yeah.
And if it's going to make your job easier by bringing her on, and then people start to watch you and you bring on other guests. I also noticed that you brought on some employees, by doing that in some of your posts. So by bringing them on, what I always say, people see you're you're a real person. You sound trustworthy. Anybody that looks at all your posts that we're talking about. I don't know. It just, video to me does it, but I get some people don't want to do it. I do. I get it. And I'm sure you're going to fall into that, right?
Yeah, I mean, if everybody was doing it, it wouldn't be fun, honestly. I do have another partner up in our Connecticut area who started doing them. He's like, "Yeah, I started doing them because of you," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That's what I love. I wanted that. One of the best ones of it all, I have to bring it up, is, we all know, I know you're laughing because I watched it. If you read it, some of his posts, I like how he does it. People put, so we all said the great resignation. We all said it. But Matt's saying of it is the big quit. And I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at that. The big quit.
Yeah. I've seen all these great resignation, great reevaluation.
Oh my God.
Whatever you want to call it. You're just quitting your jobs to find better jobs. The big quit.
Yeah. I guess I always, when I did a show on it, I did the pros and cons. I always look at everything, single decision I make. I'm telling you, as I get older now, I keep saying I'm 55. I don't care my age, but it's like you evolve. So I base everything on a scale. Even when I'm looking for a new job, I want all the pros and then all the cons. And TV's just scared the hell out of me, came on. So, wow, I was like, what the hell was that? So, you do your pros and cons and you kind of weigh it out and say, okay, well, whew. But with the great resignation, I get it. I really do. I first listened to everybody. Your work-life balance. Let's face it. People could do with less because they didn't spend. Your children, everything. We all know. We could talk hours about that because I go through it with my son with school and what happens. Your schedules, if you're married. or your partner, wherever, your schedule's changed and all these new shifts. And then I look at the cons, and I couldn't come up with anything really negative because they're leaving for their reasons, which, but then it just opens the door. I look at it in the staffing industry. Well, it either opens up the door for the future leaders that are there, that they can move up, or it's like a circle. Have you seen in your business, not so much a great resignation, maybe, I don't want to say it, but are you getting a higher, more people coming into the office or different type of jobs looking when they come in and see you? I should say it like that.
So, we've had a little bit of that, which is good and bad because, I know we discussed people versus paper, but some things you do need a piece of paper for.
Right.
And I do get people that have, some small level accounting. Maybe they're a bookkeeper applying for a senior financial analyst role.
Right.
Not really a fit. But I've had more and more people like, hey, I only want remote work. Hey, I want to be able
to ask you about in that type of, because you right there, I always interrupt them, but I get my
go ahead.
There. You right there, I never thought about that because you probably have a lot of at-home work.
I do have a fair amount, yeah. And then I mean, with this day and age, not just that, like, hey, I need a new job because I don't want to get a vaccine, or
with everything going on,
things along those lines, or I don't feel comfortable in an office. I live with my mother, who's more immune, or more. I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. Like more.
I guess you got to show a lot of empathy for that too, though. In staffing, you got
absolutely. But then you have some people that are like, "Hey, you can work remote once you come into the office for a month to train." Right. Because certain things are more hands-on. I mean, I'm still in my office. I'm an office person. I like to separate home from work.
Right.
We have the option to be hybrid. I like being in my office, even though
I have a choice like that. I can take a day here if I want to. I like that. I worked at home for 2 years. Now, me personally, I don't want to do it again, ever. Yeah. I want to complain about going to traffic. I want to complain about coming home, getting away out of there, because then I want to complain about looking forward to a Friday. You know what I mean? All those little things, and people don't put that in there. But I made my own mistakes. I should have taken lunches. I should have took walks. I should have took every little thing that I didn't. But I was wondering, in your business there, I'm sure you get a lot of that. Now, do you see clients? Have you seen a change at all in your type of business?
I definitely have seen a change. When I was recruiting on customer support, a lot of companies were like, we're going back into the office in December. December came. We're not going to do it. It was like, production's good. Why do you need to go back into the office?
Right.
And it also opens up the market. There's a company I'm working with right now that is good with you sitting anywhere, as long as once a quarter you're able to go into the office for their quarterly QBR, quarterly review meetings.
Right.
And, other than that, as long as you're getting your work done, you can work from home.
And I think it's a great option for people. I really do. I know when people go on that LinkedIn, they put, hey, I'm celebrating. There was 3 people I was like, I don't get engaged. I really don't want to get engaged on LinkedIn. I don't. I'll say something and I'll delete it. Because this person, they were celebrating like they were with the company for 10 years. And I get it. Wow. I'm part of the Great Resignation. Okay, but that company fed your family for 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you really celebrate? Do you have to say it that way? That's just my opinion, respectively, do you have to say it like that? And, hey, but I get the feeling, It
all depends on what my relationship was with that person. If it was just somebody I connected with totally outside of, and we never had any like real interactions,
right?
I probably wouldn't. But if not, it's like, hey, I understand, like, you're celebrating this, but tell me one good thing about that company that made you stay there 10 years.
10 years. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not my most recent restaurant job, but the job I had before that. And like we said, no companies. I worked for 10 years, which And in our day and age is a long time.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And
There it
the
is.
company was absolutely great until it wasn't.
Yep.
They got new ownership. They got new policies. It's like, hold on, everything that made you a good company, you are now changing.
Right.
And it's unfortunate. I still have some friends that work for that company, and I wish them well. I don't wish the company ill, but it's
Right.
totally gone in the wrong direction. And
It is.
and
that's where you're better off. I always tell people, listen, change, I call it behavior modifications on some things. Do I want to do things all the time? My boss, but at the end of the day, if I'm told I have to do it, I do my job, what they say. I might not agree.
Yeah.
And there's we have the choice. That's what's great about in today's world right now. If you're not working and something, there's no reason why. There's a lot of jobs right now.
Yeah.
So and I had one more question for you before we wind it down here is in your job for people wanting to work remote or in those positions, do you find remote workers, you said it before, just calling in because they want to work remote and they don't have all the qualifications? That's what you said before, right?
No, it's not necessarily not necessarily like that with like not having not having qualifications isn't necessarily the remote thing.
Right.
It's just they're applying for jobs and because they see it's remote and they're like, hey, I want a remote job, but they're not qualified for that specific role, not qualified to work remotely. We have companies that we work with that some of them will provide you all the equipment,
Right.
That's part of the reason we do the background and credit checks so that, hey, we send you $1,200-$1,300 worth of equipment. You sign off that paper, like you're liable for that.
Yeah, you're going to have it.
Also have ones like all you need is a laptop and internet connection, and you download their software and you can work from home.
Do you still do video interviews, Matt, or do you?
I don't. My recruiters do.
Do they? I wasn't sure if a lot of companies are still doing that in your era of your.
Yeah, if I set up, even my clients are also doing the video interviews for the most part. Some do in person.
Right.
Most of the ones that are in person are the jobs that are either going to be hybrid or in office because they want to kind of see how you'll fit in with the culture of the team. But as far as like the remote jobs, they jump on Teams or a Zoom call. And, sometimes it's a panel interview. Sometimes it's one-on-one. But, with everybody that we hire, we put them through that process for a couple of reasons. One, we want to see how they show up. I mean, it's still an interview, Right. I feel underdressed with you and your jacket on, but, no. And I've had people show up great. And then I've had people show up like they just rolled out of bed. And I'm like, hey, but that also gives us a moment to coach them and say, hey, listen.
So you said the right things. You already said culture and you said coaching. Yeah. And you probably didn't realize you said the two most important things I like. And that's what I like about you, Matt. You can tell you're real. You say the best words right there without even knowing that you said them. I mean, right off the bat, well, you showed up. It's a coaching moment.
Yeah. And I've told people before, and I say, hey, listen, I understand you have children and they're not in school right now, especially, it's a little different now, but last year during the midst of the middle of the pandemic, I was like, is there anybody that can watch him for a half hour when you actually have it with the company? Because where I think it's cute that he's jumping on top of you, I also don't want you to represent yourself that way when
that makes sense.
Talking to a client, especially
because that's the responsibility of the person.
Yeah,
like you said, that's a good way you put it. To break it, I get it, but if you're going for an interview, I mean, let's face it. I agree with you.
Yeah, or if it's and I've seen videos where hey, they encourage me to bring my kid and them being in the Zoom, and I get that to an extent, but when I recruited, again, it was customer service. You're on the phone 24/7, while you're at work, you can't alleviate all the background noise of having a child and being an at-home working parent, which is super difficult.
Right.
But you also can't have a screaming child while you're trying to talk to a client on the phone.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some
kind of like catch-22 there.
I think it's a great offer for families. I love it. And like I said, I've
Yeah.
seen some crazy videos on TikTok when somebody's working and the child, and they put music to it. I'm like, wow, they're having fun.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you, Matt, so much, first of all, for coming on and getting to know you. And I know your videos are going to even get different and different and different and different. And I can't wait till you start pulling more people in and just do different things with it and show people that you can step out and make a difference and be real. Everybody on here, like I said, everybody's watching. I think you can see something in a person that you believe versus a job posting,
Yeah.
And that's what I like about you, when you did that. But I want to give you a chance once more, say where you're working, who you can help. And this is the reason why you came on tonight also. And then we'll just close it out.
Well, before I do that, I want to thank you for having me. I know we've been trying to do this for a while.
Yep.
I enjoy your podcast. I'll sit there while I'm reading a book and throw it on, and then I'll stop and have to make a little comment here and there.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So I do thank you for that, and thank you for having me. But again, I work with Aston Carter. I specialize in accounting and finance professionals, specifically in the Atlanta market. But my team does all of Georgia, Alabama, and North Florida. If you're outside of there, reach out to me, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. So
that's it.
And if it's not accounting and finance, if it's something else that's an office realm type of job, feel free to reach out to me. I'll find the person that you need to talk to.
And that's great. And Matt, again, thank you. And thanks everybody for watching. Please share it. If you're, reach out to Matt. If you know anybody's looking for a job in those areas, he'd be glad. Just, message him on LinkedIn. I'm sure you're going to answer it. So
yeah, absolutely.
But on that note, everybody have a great night. And I'll be back on, I don't even know what day. It's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Wednesday, probably tomorrow or Sunday. So we'll see everybody soon. I'll be right back with you, Matt. We're going to talk a minute.